Increased violence and crime now plague the city, a once sleepy city with violent food protests. TV6's Mark Basant and Jabari Fraser spent last week immersed in the city's goings-on. And throughout this week, we bring you a series of varied reports from a city that acts as a main thoroughfare to Citrus, Trinidad.
You'd think this level of scrutiny would be for travelers entering Venezuela, but the Guardia Nacional seems more concerned with what leaks out than what comes in. This is a communication right after we were searched by the Guardia Nacional. It seems that everyone was searched thoroughly. It was like everybody was interrogated like a suspect. We experienced it first, and they asked us if we worked, and of course we told them we were not journalists. To Venezuela's military, drugs and guns may not be the most dangerous things being sneaked out of the coastal city of Chocopita. Images which tell of a desperate reality do far more harm. People driven to violence by hunger, a mob of Chocopita residents plundering for food. Stores were looted and roads blocked as residents clashed with the military. A food shortage, the product of an overvalued currency and dependency on foreign imports. The situation had been simmering while we were there, and it boiled over 48 hours after we left. It's just after 8 o'clock on Friday night, and we're driving through the streets of Chocopita on the way to our hotel. This week there's electricity letting streetlights dot the way. But these streets are no place for strangers. Loitering around could get you killed. Venezuela averaged about 16,000 murders last year, with Caracas contributing to a chunk of that figure. But the ripple effects are also being felt 6 hours away from the capital, with violent crime on the rise in this eastern state.
In
the last 3 months or so, the number of murders have gone up, especially among young people, aged between 20 and 30. Among that group, there have been much crime here in Chocopita, no? And according to official information and what police contacts have confirmed to us, that in most cases, the crimes have to do with revenge, with a shift in the balance of power among gangs, which struggle for control over certain types of illicit activity in Venezuela.
The night we arrived, a visitor restaurant for a meal brought a close brush with Chocopita criminals. Thieves carting off the battery of the car parked in front of ours. Walking through the streets of Chocopita at night can prove rather risky, especially if you're carrying a smartphone like this one. It makes you an easy target for thieves lying in wait. Medina was robbed of his cell phone 5 times. One encounter almost cost him his life.
Once I was in a public place here in Chocopita, and when I was walking, and unexpectedly, some people came around and threatened and attacked me with a broken bottle. And right here, behind my ear, they cut me. They took my bag away from me and took my cell phone. Really, my error was taking out my phone and sending messages, because they had surely been looking at my movements.
With inflation climbing and the poverty worsening as the economy declines, the risk of carrying around cash in bulk is real. In Venezuela, a lot of people prefer to carry around their money on their cards. That is why the lineup here is so long. They prefer to do this because carrying around huge sums of cash can be very dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Imagine having to carry around $20 US, but in bolivars, you'll end up carrying sacks of cash like this. But the fear of criminals in this Petro state is only half the problem. The state-run military Guardia Nacional and the police also have a nefarious reputation.
Desde 1998, con el expresidente.
What has happened in the last 17 years? It's worth noting that since 1998, with late President Chavez and now President Maduro, that the armed forces have been involved in occupying positions that normally are the domain of civil society. For example, of the 24 states in Venezuela, 12 are occupied by the military.
Son ocupadas por militares.
It's a paradox that here in Venezuela, there's a fear of the security forces, the police, the Guardia Nacional, that drives home the issue of security that many Venezuelans fear both sectors of the society, the criminals and law enforcement.
Medina, working as a journalist for more than 7 years here, told us stories about the Guardia National's brutality. Others harbor similar feelings of distrust.
Por ejemplo, cuando usted habla...
For example, when you speak about trenches, when you speak about cells, when you speak about hoisting flags and the continuous battle, these things aren't among the vocabulary of normal civil society. That is not the grammatical constellation that civilians and law enforcement can mutually understand.
Y sabemos.
With food in such scarce supply, Tocopita residents are turning to the marketplace where fruits and fish are cheaper alternatives. Tomorrow, we'll take a closer look at life in the marketplace. Mark Basant, TV6 News.